We are live. We can get started.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Araya with the Kent Chamber of Commerce, and we are here with a webinar with Impact Washington, and we are discussing manufacturers back to work measures with Impact Washington. And what I'm going to go ahead and do is send it over to Josh, and he's going to go ahead and start this webinar today.
Hello, everyone. From Impact Washington team, you'll be listening a little bit from Jeff Lawrence, Sarah Stewart, and me, Joseph Gosar. We, at Impact Washington, we have some resources and some information that we found is very helpful for manufacturers. In terms of the overview of what you will be hearing in this presentation is we'll go through a brief overview of who Impact Washington is and what we have to offer and what our capabilities are. We're going to go over an overview of the assistance programs that we are providing to manufacturers. And by manufacturers, that means anyone that is a good producing, good processing company here in Washington State. So that includes brewers and metal foundries, anyone that takes a product and adds some kind of value to it through a process, whether that's packaging or anything else. So we'll go through those assistance programs, how we are helping companies restart and prevent and prepare themselves for the possibility of having a COVID outbreak and or being reviewed by LNI and other agencies. And we'll also talk about how we are helping companies rebuild and prepare themselves for the new world and the new markets that we're living in. The end of the presentation will be going over the who is eligible and how you apply for the grants and the programs and kind of the timing of how those programs work. And at the very end of this, we will be doing a question and answer session. On your screen, there should be a button that will allow you to send your questions in to us, and we will answer those as they come up. So who is Impact Washington? Go ahead, next slide. Impact Washington is Washington's Center of Excellence for Manufacturing. About 20 years ago or so, the federal government and the state governments around the country realized that the large manufacturers were able to have someone on their staff that could go out and find resources, vet the consultants in the area, write for grants, and do a lot of work to promote their businesses. But the small manufacturers weren't able to take advantage of the same the resources that the state and federal government were putting into manufacturing. So they established a national network of centers, of which we are Washington State's center. Go ahead, next slide. There we go. There's a version of us in every state, and our goal is to help you find the resources that you need to move your company forward. Under normal circumstances, we would meet with you, view your facility, and put together a hit list of things that you want to tackle, and help you find the resources and the people that you need to help you do that. During COVID, things are a little bit different. Everything's virtual, as you know, but our mission is still the same, to help all of the manufacturers here in Washington State and as the MEP network across the country. We have been pretty successful in that mission. Since 1997, we have helped companies increase their sales revenue by $1.6 billion. We've helped clients with their new investments of $909 million. We've been able to help companies create or retain 15,000 jobs. And in terms of cost savings, we've helped companies achieve $286 million in cost savings. Our team is made up of business professionals with a lot of experience. In addition to that, the field and the pool of consultants that we pull from are experts in their fields. They are the best that you can find, and we bring them into your facility, and we try to pair you with someone that will understand your challenges, as someone that most likely has spent time managing or on a shop floor in an industry similar to yours with some of your same challenges. So this isn't a purely academic person coming in. We know what it's like to actually run a business, and we've been in your shoes, and we know how to speak your language. As I mentioned, things have changed a little bit with COVID-19. We have launched some manufacturing assistance programs with Washington State, within Washington State, that have been funded through the CARES Act. And we have two missions with these funds that we've received and that we are helping manufacturers with. The first is to help them restart and prevent the spread of COVID-19 and to reduce their risk exposure as they restart. And the second portion of, or the second initiative that we have with these funds is to help them rebuild and recover from what has happened lately in their markets. And the idea of recovery extends a little bit further than just helping the people that are suffering and whose businesses are down, but also helping the economy in general, and helping also those companies that are growing and needing help to do so in a manner that will help the economy. So Impact Washington is dedicated, and always has been dedicated, to helping manufacturers. And the idea behind these initiatives are to keep your doors open and keep your employees safe, but to also get you the advice and experts that you need to learn how. It's the concept of learning how to fish versus being given a fish, or bringing in an expert that you wouldn't have on your staff because you need them for a very specific amount of time, and you need someone that has a level of expertise there that you couldn't bring in-house. Go ahead, next slide. The first portion and the first initiative of the purpose of these funds is to prevent COVID-19 and prepare you for operating under the restrictions that we have. And we do this through a grant that is 100% paid for through the COVID, or the CARES Act monies that we received. We bring in a consultant virtually into your facility. We walk them around the facility. We meet with your team, and we go through a wide variety of topics with you, and help you adapt to this new environment and this new way of doing business that we have, as well as help you make sure that you are in compliance with OSHA and the state and LNI regulations. And I want to add here that 95 maybe even more than 95% of the companies that I've talked to, including those that think that they have things squared away, are typically missing something important. And bringing these consultants in and going through this process, I have yet to have a company come back to me and say that it wasn't worth doing. So who qualifies for these grants? I touched on this a little bit earlier, but in our eyes, a manufacturer is anyone that does any kind of value added activity to a product. For example, if you're an apple grower, you wouldn't necessarily be eligible. However, if you take that apple and you package it, or you take that apple and you put wax on it, you added value to that product. And so the variety of companies that we're working with is very, very broad. And it's actually been quite a pleasure to work with industries that we haven't traditionally worked with a lot in the past. So you need to fall under that umbrella, and we can help you decide whether that's the case. We can start the application process on your behalf and we do all of the internal paperwork pretty much for you. All we need is for you to reach out to us, and we'll be able to talk with you and get that started. What does the assessment really look like, and what does it do? First, we review your current state, and we help you by presenting you with some of the best practices and housekeeping recommendations that we've put together over doing, you do 100 of these and you see different aspects of businesses and different ways that they're doing things, and you learn a bit, and we try to share that with and that knowledge forward with new manufacturers. We conduct employer risk assessment. This is a formal process that we've created, and then we also, in part of that process, as we're going through, we're helping you to determine the measures that you need to take to keep your employees safe. Next slide. Those measures can include your communication and supporting and training your staff. One of the areas that a lot of companies fall flat is that they have individuals that English is not their primary language, and one of the requirements from the governor's proclamations are that you need to train them in their primary language so that they understand the rules. Health screening. This is kind of a difficult one for some companies to figure out. How do they do it? When do they do it? How do they keep track of that data? And we can help you navigate that world a little bit and that new requirement. Physical distancing. In some of these factories, it can be quite difficult to keep 6 feet away. And how do you do that in some of these instances, and what do you do if you can't? And we can help you navigate that. Good health habits. There's a whole range of things that can be done and good practices that we found. The safety measures that we go through in the different areas that we focus on, there's 15 general areas and over 75 different deep dive topics that we go through with you. I can almost promise every company that I talk to that there's something that they're probably missing, and even if it's not keeping them out of compliance, there's something that will help keep their employees safe. So we want to try and implement those. Washington State has a somewhat different classification than some of the other states. So if your safety plan has been handed down to you from another area, we may want to talk and make sure that you're classifying and providing PPE and doing other prevention measures based on the risk exposure levels that are defined here in Washington State. And the idea behind this is, a doctor is not necessarily the same as a person working from home. And so we want to make sure that the correct amount of prevention is being given. The recovery process. So the whole discussion that I've had before this, the whole part of the presentation here focused on assessment, and that is a grant in and of itself that pays for a consultant to help you do that work, and it typically takes about a day, and if you have multiple buildings it may take longer than that. The recovery portion of the initiative and the grants that we are giving has to do with getting your business in better shape for the future. And the first step in that is understanding your current state, what your business challenges are today, and where you want to be. And we do that through a business assessment. That business assessment costs you nothing, and in and of itself, that business assessment and the discussions around it are worth doing, even if you choose not to pursue the additional grant funds that can be made available to help address some of those the things that are highlighted in the business assessment. So you can do the prevention, you can do the business assessment, and if you choose to, you can do a recovery grant to help tackle some of the challenges that you have and bring in a consultant and experts to do that. On the screen now, you can see a breakdown of some, we took a sample size of 7 different companies. They're pretty representative of what we're seeing. The companies that we've worked with, we've typically, if you see here, the first one is safety and it's all green. We did a good job on our COVID prevention plans and reviewing their safety plans. And so we have yet to have a company that had significant issues with that. But if you look at the graph here, workforce development, cybersecurity, strategic planning, and business systems, product mix are also kind of the top categories that we're finding are representing the largest needs for our clients and the ones that and the things that we would provide grants to help them with. Go ahead and do the next slide. In your business assessment report, you will receive a graph like this that will show you which general areas of your business are doing pretty well, and which areas of your business may need more help. And we dive a little deeper on those topics in our conversations as we try to build a plan to provide grants to help you tackle those specific areas. So in this example, this company had very low cybersecurity coverage, and some other areas were not quite so in need. We also put together a matrix with you to go through. We don't just say, hey, you need cybersecurity in this example, but why do you need it, and what do you need to bridge that gap to make that up to standard and up to where you want it to be, and no longer as large of a risk factor for you moving forward. Go ahead and hit the next slide. So what can these COVID recovery projects cover? You've done your assessment. We've got you up and running in terms of feeling safe and your employees feeling safe. We've done a business assessment, and we've outlined what you want to tackle and what you need to tackle and what your largest risks are. Okay, what areas then can this grant help you with? And it's pretty broad, and I would say that that we're able to impact almost every area of your business. I want to stress that the spirit of these grants is to help you bring in an expert that you wouldn't necessarily have on staff, or teach you how to fish versus giving you a fish. So these grants are not cash. They are not meant to purchase things. So, for example, we can't give you grant money to buy an ERP system or a robotic arm or some automation equipment. But we can get you consultants that can help you implement that, learn that system, or design that system, and help put together your shop floor, for example. We can't pay for your marketing efforts, but we can bring in a marketing expert to help you, or someone to help you do market research so that you can target those funds that you would be investing. So everything from operations to software to cybersecurity to succession planning, HR related issues, leadership training, new product development. That's actually a really big one. A lot of companies are needing to make a shift these days. We can help you with those things, and we will help you evaluate what you need to tackle next, and what's going to give you the best bang for your buck, and or the best improvement on your risks moving forward. Again, who's covered by these and who can apply for these grants and ask for these grants: manufacturers, producers, anyone that does any kind of value added activity. That includes people that are in agriculture, food and beverage, seafood processing, aerospace products and parts, wood and paper products, chemical manufacturing, pharmaceutical and medicine manufacturing, maritime, clean energy, chocolatiers that put together gift baskets. They're making a product, and I have been absolutely loving the how broad of companies we're able to help with these experts in these grants. In terms of eligibility, these are non-competitive grants. We just need to show that you qualify in terms of that you're making or processing a product. And the paperwork side of things is really quick. Mostly you need to just contact us. So the application process is really more of a conversation than something formal online that you have to fill out. Next steps: if you would like to take advantage of any of these initiatives, if you're only interested in COVID prevention and getting a consultant in to help you button that up, you can do that, or you can go all the way through and do and apply for business assessments and recovery project assistance. You can contact Impact Washington to get this started. There will be some information at the end here on how to do that. You'll talk to an Impact Washington account executive like myself, and we will start you down this path of applying and getting these funds. The COVID prevention portion typically takes a conversation. You fill out you basically sign a form accepting the grant, and then we schedule a consultant. We can do this. I've had projects like this turn around in a day. The same day we had the conversation, the next day the company was doing the project. So those can be quite quick. And if you're running into trouble or you're having issues with COVID currently, please give us a call, because we can step in and help give you some direction and take some weight off your shoulders. Before we move to questions, I wanted to give you directions on how to get in contact with us. The easiest way is to email info, like information, info at impactwashington.org. Again, that's info at impactwashington.org. Or you can go on to our website, impactwashington.org, or you can call the number for our office at 425-438-1146. Again, that's 425-438-1146. And with that, I will go ahead and invite Sarah Stewart to jump in and help us review some of our questions and answers. And you'll also be hearing from Jeff Lawrence, two wonderful people that I'm glad are on my team as we roll out these assistance efforts, and that I know are proud, like I am, that we're able to help during this time of need for so many people out there.
So one of the questions that was asked was, how long does this survey take? And it's taking about 20 minutes. And what we're also finding then is that the conversation that we have afterwards, when you receive the data, takes anywhere between an hour and a half. And that's mostly because of the great conversations that people are having among themselves. It's really allowing our clients to become aligned as a leadership and executive team on what needs to happen next. So they're finding value in that assessment, and especially for the time commitment and investment.
And that's in relation to the business assessment.
Recovery.
Or the recovery
Correct.
assessment, correct. And I will say, after going through a couple of those, even just this morning, that those conversations are very productive, and the attendees really leave excited for the future, and feel like they have a plan to move forward, and that they've put that plan together and sat down and actually done it. A lot of times we get so caught up in the day-to-day fire drills and product producing that we forget to plan ahead, and it really helps to have someone help you with that.
There's one of the other questions, and there was actually two people asked this one. We think we've done everything we can. In essence, what they're asking is, we think we've done everything we can for COVID-19, and we already have a plan in place. Do we need to go all the way through Impact Washington's assessment again? And the answer to that is no. The assessment, the goal of that assessment is to help you think through your COVID-19 prevention plan. That is required by the state. If you feel like you've got one, we would be happy to just review that with you and do a document gap analysis on that. But what we would ask is that if we get into your plan and it looks like there's still lots of remaining questions from what's required to the state, we may say, hey, it looks like the assessment is a good idea for you, and ask you to do that. But so far, me personally, people that have had the plans, we've just had to do a few course corrections and merrily sent them on their way.
Yep. So if you feel like you're already well down this road and your HR person has done a lot of homework, you may just need a little bit of help or a little reassurance that you're all the way there. I would also add that if you're in a situation kind of the opposite side of that, where maybe you've had some issues and the health department is on your doorstep, that to contact us, because we may be able to help you navigate those waters a little bit and help you put together a prevention plan that's maybe a little more comprehensive to help you hopefully stay open. So.
And then the last question that we've received is around remote consulting, both for, and I guess I'll answer this, for the prevention plan and then the recovery plan. The question was, we are not allowing visitors yet into our facility. Can we do this work remotely? We would prefer the prevention plan, so we kind of understand what things you put in place to do that remotely. We've become very good with that. If you do decide you want a full assessment, You'd be amazed at what we can see with a camera on a cell phone, and we've been very effective in doing that. Excuse me. Then on the recovery assessment, we at Impact Washington are making great strides in working remotely, and so it's really up to you guys as the clients about whether you want to do it in person. Some prefer that, some prefer remote, but all of our resource partners are getting pretty good at being able to accommodate what they do from a remote perspective. So we would take that on a case-by-case basis and work with you guys to figure out how that would go. Okay, here's one. If an Impact Washington has been contacted by the Department of Health that their site is to be evaluated, can we help? Yes, we can. Please contact us, and I'm going to give you my email address. It's sstuart@impactwashington.org. My telephone number is 206-817-2861. Call me today, please, and we will definitely get that started. And that was the last of the questions.
If you haven't a question, please type it in now. And then some other common questions that we get are as we're doing these prevention assessments, if we share that with anybody, or if you're not taking the advice or in compliance, if we're there to get you in trouble. And no, we're not. We are only here to help. The documents and everything that we see is strictly for to help you, and you will receive those documents and you can share them if you wish. This isn't about getting anybody in trouble. This is about helping them, and take it, leave it, or change. It's really up to you. The idea is that we want to make sure that no one is left behind as they're trying to do their best. So. Jeff, are you on? I think we might have lost Jeff. Some of the other questions are is this really free? Yes, it is. The prevention assessments are free. The business assessments are free. The grants in terms of the recovery work, it varies a little bit, and we can tell you about that. But the first couple steps are 100% grant paid, and they are very much worth doing. I would highly recommend it. I have yet to have anyone feel like it was a waste of time or that it wasn't worth taking advantage of.
Hey Joseph, we have one more question.
Okay.
Can an evaluation assist employers determine what masks to wear or alternate measures to keep every employee safe? That is part of the prevention assessment that we do. We actually go through that by job description to figure out what's the best PPE for people. It really depends on the job. As an example, we had somebody that was entering into retirement homes as part of their work as a manufacturer, and so they need a very different PPE than somebody who's working on an assembly line. So we do take that by job description. So absolutely, we can help with that.
Yep. And that, Sarah, wouldn't you agree that that's one of the more difficult things for manufacturers to find guidance on, and a consistent message from our state and other authorities on? You know, from what I see, those navigating and trying to figure out what the best course of action is not easy, and it's been a bit of a moving target. I don't know. Do you feel like that's one of the areas that we focus on quite a bit with employers, especially given the recent change in protocol there.
Yeah, that is definitely one of the questions that comes up quite a bit. We spend quite a bit of time on. There's another question. Are face shields alone acceptable as acceptable PPE? The answer to that, according to LNI, is no, and that because of the cloth masks are meant to capture droplets and that kind of thing. You hear it all about in the news. They're basically like a spit catch to keep that any kind of virus particles from aerating from far away. And face shields don't do that. If you guys contact me, it sometimes helps if you can show your employees where that's cited on the website. We'd be happy to share those links with you as a way to communicate with your employees.
Yeah, and I would follow that up with one of the main things that we end up spending a decent amount of time with people on is, okay, we've put together our plan and what we want to do. What are some ways that we can actually help get our employees to be on board? You can write everything you want, but if your employees are not willing to wear the masks or willing to do the procedures, how do we encourage that? How do we encourage our employees to take their temperatures and those activities, and how do we track that? Those are all things that we can definitely help with, and that our consultants are learning some best practices, and we've been sharing information, and as we go through more and more of these, and we're learning little tips and tricks on how to do that, and we can also help you research what is legal to do and what isn't legal to do and require. Yeah. Another question that we get frequently is, what does the consultant meeting look like for the prevention assessment? Typically, we can break these up as needed to fit your schedule, but most of the ones that I've done so far consist of a single day. A standard time frame would be to have a single person take the consultant on a virtual tour using their cell phone for about a half hour, and then to sit down for maybe an hour or so with the consultant and a few other people, typically someone from operations and someone from maybe HR and someone from the safety team, just a couple people that represent some different interests and sometimes conflicting desires, so that we can help you strike a balance between productivity and safety. And we sit down for maybe an hour or so and discuss the different areas, and we go through a process of different topics and with you. And then there's a break for a few hours where the consultant writes up their reports and brainstorms and does any researching that they need to. There's an Excel that we have you help fill out, outlining some of your jobs and the types of jobs that you have. And then maybe around 3 o'clock, meet up for an hour to review that information and the documentation that the consultant has put together. And then so that's the day. Half hour, maybe an hour or so of conversation, half hour virtual tour, hour of conversation in the morning, hour of review in the late afternoon, and then maybe a few days later, after we do the prevention assessment, we can also provide you with a template for creating your COVID prevention plan. And a lot of the information that needs to go in there can be copied and pasted basically from the consultant's assessment. And then once you're done with that, which most companies can finish pretty quick, maybe the next day or a few days later, they circle back with their consultant and share their plan with them, and we help you, review that and see if there's anything that we think is missing or that could be added to strengthen your plan a little bit. So typically takes a day. There's a little bit of homework on your side. And it's not even a full day for you. It's just a little bit of time in the morning and a little bit of time in the afternoon to review. So.
And we have another question. Can Impact Washington provide in-house COVID training for our employees? Yes, we can.
Yep. And Sarah, we could include that possibly with some of the COVID recovery portions. I mean, that's a part of recovery, correct?
Correct.
Yep. So that would be highlighted in your in the business assessment under the safety metric. It would be highlighted that that there's still work to do in terms of actually implementing your COVID safety plans or just safety plans in general. So that would be brought to light during the assessment, the business assessment portion. Are you seeing anything else come in, Sarah?
Nope.
All right. Want to state one more time that if you would like to start down this path of receiving some of these assistance grants, that you email info@impactwashington.org or visit our website, and that will get you in touch with us, and we will help you with that process.
And again, my contact information, if you think you're going to get an L&I visit, is sstuart@impactwashington.org. And my number is 206-817-2861. And if you could call me sooner than later, that would be great.
Yep. And I think with that, we're pretty much wrapped up on our webinar here. Sarah, is there anything else you want to add?
No.
All right. I think that's it. Does the chamber have anything they want to add? And as they wrap this up, any shout outs for future webinars or resources that they want to try and promote? I think you're still on mute. Are you there? I'm not hearing her. With that, I would like to thank you all for joining this webinar. I hope there was some information here that was able to help you. I look forward to hearing from some of you as you reach out to receive this assistance, and I wish you health and safety and a good weekend.
And I'm sorry, Joseph. The
there we go.
system muted me on my own, and it made me like press star something to unmute myself. I apologize. I was just saying that I do appreciate Impact Washington for presenting for the chambers, our local chambers. So on behalf of the Kent Chamber, Southside Chamber, Covington, and Renton Chamber, again, Joseph and Sarah, we really appreciate you guys giving this information out. If anybody needs any direct contact, a lot of times people are just maybe not comfortable with contacting you guys directly. You can give us a call, any of our chambers. We have their contact information. We can do a soft introduction or give you a little push nudge to help speak with Impact Washington. But we definitely want our chamber members to take advantage of what they have to offer. They're great programs. They are here to help and help build up with everything that's going on. We need to, be together as a team and help get through this situation. And again, I appreciate Impact Washington for presenting for our chamber members today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Goodbye. See everybody.